Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing something slightly different and we're going to be looking at the dissection of a cat's right forelimb. Obviously, due to the nature of what's going to be in this video, I want to give you a heads up that if you're not willing to be looking at muscle and bone, you might want to give this one a miss. This is Piper, and Piper is a roughly 6-month-old female cat. A classmate of mine works in a veterinary practice. Piper was handed in after a suspected hit and run with a car by a man who found her in the streets. As you can see in this video, her front right leg is very crooked. At the wrist, Piper's foot is a kind of a 45-degree angle the wrong way, and she's unable to unbend it. Because of this, she's putting a lot of pressure on that wrist, and a large mass has started to form there. It was decided for Piper's own sake that she would have the leg amputated so that she'd have a better chance of having a normal life on the 3 legs instead of the 4. Due to the fact that my class is actually an animal science class, my classmate decided to bring the limb in for us to dissect it so we could get a better hands-on experience with the anatomy and makeup of a cat's limb. When we received the limb, all of the fur and skin below the elbow was intact, however all the fur and skin above the elbow was not there. This is because when an animal's limb is amputated, they need to keep some skin still attached to the body to close over and sew up over the hole that is now going to be left behind. This is to help prevent infection and to make sure that the animal has a normal hair growth and normal skin growth over that area, kind of similar to a skin graft. A quick examination was done of all the toes to see if any appeared to be broken or damaged in any way. We could not see any obvious damage aside from the actual bent wrist itself, which, although the animal was now separated from the limb, we still could not unbend. Here you can see there's a large sort of padded area on the wrist part where Piper was using it to lean on and walk. This is after developing obviously over time and was kind of soft and granular to the touch, and we weren't quite sure what it was made up of, so we decided that when we were going to be cutting it open that we could see exactly what was going on there. The first step was to remove the skin and fur of the cat's limb. This was done using a scalpel and a tweezers. Care was taken to avoid any damage to the muscle so that it could later be examined to see exactly the makeup of the cat's limb. Skin is comprised of 3 main layers. There's the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. The epidermis is the absolute outermost piece of skin, where in a cat the fur is held, whereas on people is the skin that we actually have on the outside of our bodies. The main function of the epidermis is to prevent foreign bodies and bacteria from getting into our skin, and also to regulate the amount of water that is lost through the skin. The dermis is found directly below the epidermis and provides flexibility and elasticity to the skin, while the hypodermis connects the skin as a whole to the muscle and bone beneath. Here we removed all of these layers of skin all the way down to the hypodermis so that we could clearly observe the muscles beneath. The removal of the skin between the elbow and the wrist went very smoothly. However, it became slightly more difficult the closer we got to the lump that was around the wrist. Extra care was taken to make sure that we did not damage the lump because we wanted to see exactly what it was. This part of the video has been sped up slightly just because it did take quite a while to do correctly. The skeletal makeup of a cat's forelimb is very similar to that of a human arm. Their shoulder blade, just like humans, is called their scapula. Attached to the scapula is the humerus. The humerus in humans is located from the shoulder until the elbow. Below there is the ulna and the radius. The ulna in cats makes up the elbow itself, exactly as it does with humans. Below these are the carpals, which make up the wrist. In this case, we thought there may possibly be something wrong with these carpals. Maybe they developed incorrectly or were damaged in the car accident, causing them to fuse together. Below the carpals are the metacarpals, which then lead on to the phalanges. And the phalanges are like the fingers, or the toes in this case. And then obviously at the tips of the phalanges are the retractable claws that cats are very well known for. The main function of the skeleton is to provide support to the body. The skeleton acts as a building block for muscle to attach to via tendons. Muscles then contract and extend to allow a body to move. While tendons attach muscle to bone, ligaments attach bone to bone. This helps to keep a skeleton stable and intact while moving. When enough skin had been removed, we removed the excess flap of skin so we could better observe the area. When taking a closer look at the skin, you can clearly see some small blood vessels. An incision was then made down the dorsal side of the cat's paw. Here we hoped to expose and observe the metacarpals and associated tendons and ligaments in the cat's foot. If you look at your own hand, between your wrists and knuckles, there are several long, thin bones. These are our own metacarpals. With the skin removed, the cat's metacarpals looked very similar to how a human's metacarpals look when the skin is also removed. It should be noted that what you're seeing here is both metacarpals and phalanges. The phalanges are the equivalent of people's fingers, and there's a small joint here in the middle if you look closely, where you can see the two are separated. After a bit more cleaning up, this is what they looked like. The skin between the toes, or webbing between the toes, is common in most cats, but often is not noticed due to the fact that there's hair growing between there. It is mostly obvious in hairless cats such as Sphinx cats. Upon further examination of the toes, we actually noticed that the one nearest the dew claw was broken. The cat had never shown any signs of discomfort or pain and had quite willingly been using her foot to get around, so it's safe to say that we think there was a good deal of nerve damage here. I was originally going to make this into just the one video, but unfortunately my phone doesn't have good enough storage to be able to do that. So right now I'm going to leave this one here, and then I'm going to make the second half of the video tomorrow after I delete some stuff. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below and I'll do my best to help. And thank you very much for watching.